the main entrance to the museum. There's my reward for having traveled halfway across Manhattan to get here. The door is open, and it certainly wasn't the caretaker who left it like that. The lock was shot in. Whoever it was had to be very interested in something that's inside the museum, or what was inside the museum. I don't think anyone will be too upset if I take a little nighttime tour of the museum. These crates must contain the exhibits that are being moved from the various rooms. These crates, unlike the others, are not labeled. These crates must contain the exhibits that are being moved from the various rooms. These crates, unlike the others, are not labeled. Let's see. The label says the find in this case comes from Samarra, Iraq. It was displayed in room 13 before it was moved here. Iraq should be in Professor Zindler's area of expertise. I should check on the Islamic map. A map of ancient Persia. The newspaper article that I found at the police department was about the professor's studies on Persia. Samarra. That's the same name I read on one of the crates in the atrium, so its contents must be displayed in the Islamic area. It was from room 13. Room 13 must be the old Islamic area, and that's where the professor's office must be. Now I have to find the directions to room 13. Wandering around the museum would not be a good idea. This is the way to the various rooms in the museum, but I still have no idea where I should go. Now that I know that room 13 is the Islamic area, I shouldn't have any problems finding it, thanks to this map. Good. Now all I have to do is find Professor Zindler's office in room 13. It wasn't easy, but eventually I made it to my destination. This crate is open. There's nothing inside. Professor Zindler's office. Lots of books, old photographs, and some museum pieces. The professor's office seems pretty normal. Normal if it weren't for a dead body in the middle of the room. There is no doubt that this is Professor Zindler. It's the same face I saw in the newspaper. His body is cold, but not too much. He can't have been dead more than 7 hours. And that bullet hole in his forehead makes me think that he didn't die of natural causes. Some books are missing from this shelf, and it looks like they were taken in a hurry. The only books left are those on esotericism. On the desk, there are some drawings of spirals. They don't seem to have been done by an adult. It looks like someone slept on this sofa. The professor is at least 5'7", so he is definitely too tall for this sofa. It means it couldn't have been him using it. There's a dictaphone on the table. It looks like it was used recently. This is the support you put the wax cylinders on in order to record a message, or listen to it again. There's something on the ground. It's a wax cylinder for a dictaphone. It looks like there's a recording on it. If I could get the pieces in the right order, I could listen to it. Perfect. It looks like all the pieces fit together. Now I just need to find a way to make them stick together. No, it doesn't make any sense. My cigarettes, and my lucky lighter, even though it has never brought me much luck. Yes, if I melt the wax on the edges, the various pieces should stick together without any problem. It looks like all the pieces are attached well. It should be okay this way. Now I only have to turn it on. It's the dictaphone's on-off button. And now let's see what's on the cylinder. The cylinder is running, and the voice of a woman with a French accent comes from the dictaphone's small speaker. She introduces herself as Michelle Nicholas from the Congregation of Five. The message was recorded for the professor and explains the details of a plan to get him and the girl out of the museum. According to the plan, a man sent from the congregation will come to pick up the professor and bring him and the girl to a safe house. The recording ends with the woman thanking the professor for having taken the girl away from a city with an incomprehensible name. A French woman, a congregation with a pretentious name, and a professor that kidnaps girls. A lot of information for my already confused head. So it was the professor who brought the girl here. This explains many things. Sean was probably one of the men who was supposed to get the professor and the girl, according to Michelle Nicholas's plan. But something must have gone wrong, and Zindler is the one who paid the price for it. I remember an organization called the Congregation of Five being mentioned in the incision. I'd better do some research on Michelle Nicholas. Maybe the police archives could be helpful this time as well.
Ah, you again. Where we go this time?
The police department, Hoboken.
Okay.
As they say, open sesame. It looks like there's a file on Michelle Nicholas, too. 607-0121. File 607-0121, Michelle Nicholas. Here's Michelle Nicholas's file. Nicholas's profile. As I had guessed from the name, she has French origins. Odd. Under crimes, there's nothing but a vague, possible involvement in a criminal organization. That's a pretty weak reason to open a file on someone. These are reports filled out by different officers. It looks like they were tailing Michelle Nicholas. It doesn't happen often in New York, but when it does, the police make sure that at least a couple officers are following the suspect. And it looks like Malone was the one to request the stakeout, at least judging by the signature on these pages. These are reports filled. It does, and it looks like Malone. This seems to be the report on the last sighting of Michelle Nicholas. She arrived in New York on October 28, 1933, and she disappeared on November the 5th, the same day of the staged death of Professor Zindler. According to the report, in that week she was renting a room, and surprise, she chose Slavansky's apartments to hide in. If you have little money and a not exactly immaculate criminal record, it's the best place to go. Who knows, maybe that stingy Russian Slavansky might be able to give me some useful information about our runaway Frenchwoman.
Where you want to go this time?
Essex Street, Lower East Side.
Whatever you want.
What can I do for you, Del Nero?
Have you ever heard of Michelle Nicholas?
Michelle Nicholas. That name doesn't mean anything to me.
A French woman. She stayed in your apartments last November.
There is a lot of turnover here, Del Nero. I can't remember everyone who passes through.
I've lived here for more than 2 years, Slavansky. There's no way a French woman would have passed through this hovel of losers without attracting some attention.
I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested in rent money. Why are you looking for Michelle Nicholas?
I'm looking for a wife. I opened the phone book and found her name.
Your sarcasm will get you into trouble sooner or later, Del Nero.
Now tell me something I don't know. Michelle Nicholas. I know she stayed here, so stop lying to me.
Okay, she stayed here for about 1 month. I only saw her when she moved in and out. She paid her rent in advance and I never had to see or talk to her. She had apartment on top floor, number 607. Happy now?
Do you know what she did for a living, or why she rented the apartment from you?
I'm not kind of guy who butts around in private lives of people. That's your job, detective.
I'd like to see apartment 607.
Sorry, Del Nero, but apartment 607 isn't available right now.
Why?
He's being renovated.
You decided to renovate an apartment? I have a hard time believing that.
I don't care if you believe or not. You're not going to see apartment.
Slavansky won't let me in that room. I know that. I'll have to find another way to get in there. Goodbye, Slavansky.
Goodbye, Del Nero.
No one's answering. There's no sound coming from inside. There's no one there. Getting in there is the only way I can find out something. Dannazione. The lock just reset. I have to start over. Dannazione. Something tells me that there aren't just pillows underneath this sheet, and this makes the third dead body of the evening. Whoever is under this sheet must have seen better times. I don't like to disturb the dead, but I have to find out who's under this sheet.
I wouldn't do it if I were you.
Slovansky, what are you planning to do with that old iron?
Whatever I want to if you don't do as I say.
So you're mixed up in all this too?
I don't know anything about this, Del Nero. I just have orders to follow.
From who? Black Lily?
You're in no position to ask questions, Del Nero. You're more in position to answer them.
I'm not in the habit of answering men who point a gun at me.
You'll make exception this time. Tell me, Del Nero, who are you working for?
You know perfectly well that I don't work for anyone.
I know you are a private detective, but that might just be cover.
If I had another job, I'd get a better place than this one, where the owners don't point guns at their renters.
You might be doing this just for your ideals, Del Nero.
I'm not a guy who goes in for ideals. They get you killed too easily.
So why are you looking for Michelle?
Michelle. You called her by her name. I guess you know her well.
I'm the one asking questions, Del Nero. Why are you looking for Michelle?
I found her name on a recording from an archaeologist, or someone like that.
Are you talking about Professor Zindler?
Looks like you know a lot, Slovansky.
Where's Professor now?
At the Central Park Museum, with a hole in his forehead.
I see. Looks like a lot of people are looking for you lately, Del Nero. The only reason to look for someone is because he has something other people don't have.
If you're talking about my sense of humor, you might be right.
Knock it off, Del Nero. I get orders from group called Congregation of Five.
The Congregation of Five, the same one Michelle Nicholas belonged to.
Exactly, Del Nero. And we are having big problems with Black Lily Mafia. We both want same thing, girl. And Congregation thinks you have her.
Well, they're wrong.
I don't think so. Visit you received tonight confirms that we aren't only ones who think you have girl.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Come on, Del Nero, don't be fooled. Do you have girl?
I'm not saying anything until I meet with Michelle Nicholas face to face.
It'd be pretty hard for you to talk to her.
Let's cut out this nonsense and tell me where she is.
She's right there near you, under that sheet.
So that's Michelle Nicholas's body under there?
That's right. Black Lily got to her before she found girl.
Dannazione. Michelle Nicholas was maybe the last chance I had to find out about the girl and about what happened tonight.
If you want answers, you'll have to wait until tomorrow morning, Del Nero.
What's happening tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow at about 6 a.m., Congregation will send a guide to take Michelle's place.
Tomorrow morning? I'd say timing isn't your strong point.
Our organization doesn't have same means as Black Lily.
And who's going to take care of the girl until this guy gets here?
Same person who's been taking care of her so far. You.
So I'm supposed to protect the girl until this guy gets here? That's what you're asking me?
That's right.
Why should I trust this guy?
You don't have choice. Moreover, I wouldn't have any problem to take girl with my own hands if I had to. But I'm not a man of action. I'm just building owner on Lower East Side. You are definitely the best person to take care of girl for now.
Who is this guy that's supposed to come tomorrow?
Don't know yet. Don't worry, you'll meet him as soon as he gets here.
What happens once I turn over the girl?
Like I said, I just rent apartments down here. These are questions for guy who'll get here tomorrow morning. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work.
That's it? You come in here pointing a gun at me, and now you're leaving?
I just wanted to be sure what your intentions are with girl.
And talking about it was enough?
That's not all, De Niro. In my line of work, I learned to understand who you can trust. And it's funny to say it, but you seem reliable. And now, I'll say goodbye, De Niro. Good luck.
Now that I have shed some light on the identity of the girl, I'd better get back to finding Sean's killer. I must find out who shot him. Even if my French is awful, I think this says the way to the light.